Welcome to the Underground.
Turn me up, bitch!
My Little Underground with Peter A.
It's My Little Underground. I'm Peter A, and you can subscribe anywhere podcasts are available. You can follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. It's Peter_A. You can follow the show as well at MLU Pod, and of course on YouTube as well. We're joined again by Miss Nora Kelly, and she's brought a good friend of hers, community journalist Sophia. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Anything goes. No holds barred. Just keep your shit talking to a minimal, because I don't want to get in trouble, but I'm kidding. Say whatever the fuck you want. I don't care. Today, there's a lot of things I wanna touch upon, and we'll try to do so in a timely manner. Most importantly, at least to start, music journalism as a whole. I've been thinking about that a lot recently because over the past couple of years, there's been a few artists that have been totally against reviews and all that stuff, and the whole idea of you've never done this, so you can't talk about it. So where do you two stand? I know, Sophia, you could probably speak a lot about this, on music journalism, especially in an age where there's so many ways to discover and uncover music, either from a playlist or a social media feed.
Right, so I feel like I always wrote from a place when I write about music stories. It's like I'm on the artist side, even if it's a critique or whatever, but I usually stray away from that because I'm just like excited about music and talking about who the artist is. So if it's not a critique, it's more of just I want to be like an introduction to new music. And I don't think most journalists are out to get anyone, or that that it's a negative thing, but I can see how artists feel like people pick and choose, and they're kind of like, some journalists are like gatekeepers, and I see that side of it too. But I've just written on such a small local scale, so I've always done it to be like, I want to like share someone's story. Yeah, they make music, but I want to like share their experience and whatever, be their introduction kind of to the world. I don't know.
I think, being on the artist side, I think it's very very interesting because, again, you're coming from a local standpoint. And when I used to do a little music writing, I would talk about a lot of local artists, and I would speak into the, the idea that, okay, here are these people that you should focus on. Here they are.
Right.
You can like it or you can hate it, but here they are. I'm not here to tell you if they're good or bad or not. I'm not sure if that's how you're coming about it, but that's how I did. But what I found was interesting when I wrote about certain artists, they would come to me and tell me straight up, is this good or is this bad? And I would never write about that publicly. I would just tell them this is what I liked and this is what I didn't like. Did you ever experience that?
Just kind of like people sending you their tracks or new projects, you mean? Or what do you mean?
I mean, when you would talk about a certain artist, especially a local artist, will they ask you of their opinion, like of your opinion of the music?
Yeah.
Like, is this good or is this not good or whatever?
Yeah, and sometimes they would ask like, "Oh, I put out this new thing.
Mm-hmm.
Could you write about it?" And or they would just say, "Hey, I put out this new thing. Could you listen?" And just like want like feedback. And I guess if I thought it was worth talking about, it would turn into like an article. If I didn't, I would say, I like it because of this and this and this, and I didn't like it because of this, this, and this, and I don't know. That was just how I think that they know that when they're sending their stuff to, like, submitting it to a journalist or whatever, an editor, that it's like they're just shooting their shot. But I also think a lot of artists don't know that they should just shoot their shot and send their things, because they're like people, especially in like the Twin Cities, Minneapolis, St. Paul area, who say like, oh, I've never gotten an article. Like they think that that's like all right. Like I've never gotten an article, and I don't know. That's tough too, to be like, oh, everybody deserves an article. But it's like, if you're making stuff, why not be the one to send it to someone? I don't know.
Like they want to be acknowledged without putting in the effort to be seen.
I see.
They want you to just like stumble upon them and and they're not promoting themselves. But when you're a smaller artist, you have to be your own team.
Yeah, you're your marketer, you're your manager.
You have to do the research to know who you need to talk to. But also, you always should put your best thing out. You should always send the best thing you think you've ever done. And I think sometimes people are just like, no, but I put out something new. This is different.
Yeah,
and
that's
it's like,
true.
Give us your best, not just the newest thing you've done.
My brother has done that to me. Like, he'll come up to me, he'll be like, can I get an interview when I'm done recording my thing? He hasn't even finished his, at this time, he hasn't, I mean, he has music out now, but at the time, he didn't have any music out. And I told him, why do you want to, like, you have nothing out yet. Like, make your music first. Then, you know, display it on social media, do a little show, do a few shows here. Then we can talk about it. Maybe. You know what I mean? Like, you can't just look for press if you got nothing for the press to talk about.
But at the same rate, I appreciate the hustle because some people have shown me like 4 things and not that I ignored it, but I listened to it and I was like, whatever. Or like I watched a music video and I was like, okay, like it's pretty girls and nice cars. Like, thank you for sending. The song was pretty cool. Like, I don't think I'm going to talk about this particular video because it wasn't anything like refreshing. But then like that 5th thing though is like, what? You really changed it up, or like I'm ready to talk about this person. So I respect the hustle, but I don't think like in any like about any story there's like news judgment is a whole thing, and it's like, is this newsworthy? And it's like you have to kind of decide what you think is interesting as like an editor and whatever writer. And so I don't know, I see both sides. I respect that people like will hustle and like share and be like, I'm like project coming, I swear, like I love that. And but I also don't think that you should just be like, I deserve an article at the same time.
I get that a lot. Like, not a lot, but there's a fair amount of people that have just slid into my DMs, just the link. No context, just here's a link. What am I supposed to do with this link? Just, you know what I mean? It exists, but what am I supposed to do with that? There's also people that are like, oh, I have a show coming up. We have a new album coming out. Can we? Yeah, if it's good, but I like that. Like that, there's that hustle. Like you already have stuff going on and you just need a platform to talk about it. And I think that those are the kind of artists that I love to talk to. Artists that have stuff happening. You know what I mean? Like if you just have a video out or a new single out, but there's nothing attached to it, I don't give 2 shits about it. I don't care if you're local. I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
If it's not, you know, if you don't care, why should I care? You know what I'm saying? And I think from a music criticism point of view, actually, before we get there, I think a lot of your work that I've read, it's very analytical, and you see certain things in music that most people probably won't see, and I think that's great music writing. Like if you pick out a certain a certain trait in the song that you're creating your own perspective on it. And if I listen to the song and I see that, I hear that, I think that helps the artist in the song, and it also helps you as a writer. Do you agree with that?
Yes, and for me, my knowledge of music is just I listen to a ton ever since I've been really young, and so I like can't play an instrument. Like I tried to play flute in middle school, but I'm terrible at reading music.
Me too.
I tried to teach myself guitar, but like
Me
that
too.
can only go so far when you're the teacher and you don't know music and you don't read music well. So for me, it's like all about like the emotion of music and like the presence. And I think like if people have like a whole persona as an artist, those are the things I like to talk about. Sorry, I lost your question.
No, you're
but
fine.
I come from the like my music experience is just I'm a big music listener, and then the emotions and then who the character, the artist is, I like to go into that because I think those are all worth noting. And I just like the emotions that the music evokes is like what I like to talk about, because I think that's what good music is. And whether that is a cool beat, like that evokes an emotion, or like a like very unique voice that creates a vibe. So those are the things I like to focus on.
I think also like music in general, there's something that a message can be conveyed without actually saying anything. Like I've been obsessed with this group Preoccupations, and they have a song called Anxiety, and they're not like explicitly, I mean, in the chorus you hear the word anxiety, but they're not talking about anxiety from an explicit standpoint. The music shows anxiety. Like I feel anxious when I'm listening to it, and I think that's very important. And I think so, Nora, from a music listener, not a writer point of view, when you read certain music articles, like when you read certain things, when you see certain people write about certain attributes in music, when you listen to the song itself, do you see what they're saying? You know what I mean? Do you rely on music press to kind of shape your perception on a certain song?
I mean, I like to get my own first impression before I even read anything about it. Like, I'm very specific. Like, when I listen to something new and I want to get a good opinion, I'm going to think on this and, like, make an opinion. I need to listen to the song, like, multiple times and, like, in the right setting, in the right place. And then when I go and read about it, what I like is that, you know, people like Sophia can point out things that I did not identify when I listened, right? But then I'm able to go back and it's like a story and it unfolds. So as her perspective or a different writer's perspective on the song that I did not see, like I'm able to go back and like go deeper into the song and see things I didn't see before. And I love that. I think that's a big part about music discovery is like we're all different and we all have different experiences and perceptions. But, like, we can maybe all see from each other's side, and then you see, like, a full picture. You know what I mean? And like you guys were saying before, an artist is putting, like, their passion and their creativity and their talent into something. So their idea of what they're putting out is, like, we don't know it from just listening. You know what I mean? So that's what makes music so much fun is, like, you can go as deep and as shallow as you want.
I think that's perfect. And also, when an artist creates something, you know, and they say, you can't criticize me because I put a lot of heart and soul into it. But from listening, just listening to it as a listener, sometimes you don't get that. You don't feel that yet. And I think it takes writers, music, or other music fans to, that's why I think the internet is so important when it comes to that stuff. They can display what they feel or how they relate to a certain song. Some people might agree with it and some people might disagree with it. Now what you have is different interpretations, and the artist can see like, wow, okay, there's people that are, you know, relating to or interpreting my music in different ways. And I think that's why music criticism and music reviews are so important, because they shine to light perspective on music, and I think that can help sway, I don't want to say sway taste, but it can help cultivate taste within people, and that can be, you know, different from an individual. So do you read music reviews at all?
I'm like obsessed with when I find a newish artist to see like what all the press is about them. After like what Nora said, I'll listen to their whole discography, like I'll whatever.
Really, the entire discography.
I'll stalk their social media, and then I'll be like, okay, like, but who are they? And so I'll like go look. I like the Q&A type of things where it's really just either if it's written form or a video, I like to just hear them talk about themselves because I want to understand then where they're coming from, because I've heard their story through their songs, but what's their actual story? Like I need to know this person is how I feel. So that's my approach to when I want to like learn more about music or take in like music journalism. And then I'm just like on Twitter all the time, so I'll click on things if I see an interesting headline or like or if there's like a new album from an artist I already know, I like to again like listen to it on my own, but sometimes I do like to read it just to see like again where the artist is coming from on this one, or just like see tweets when like a bigger artist puts out things, they'll trend, and I like to like read just the popular tweets of what people are saying and then go listen to it almost at the same time as I'm reading these tweets and be like, oh, I see that, or I don't get that, or like I really like I feel like everybody was like didn't like ASAP Rocky's Testing album. Like I feel like the Twitter storm was like quick to be like, this is like bad. Then I didn't like catch that vibe till like they still like when he went on the tour, I would see more of that stuff, or like YouTube comments about like the videos that I thought I really liked. They're like, yeah, but this is still his worst album, and I'm like, I didn't see it that way. So I think it's important to like to also just have your own opinion, but it's cool to read what other people are thinking about, and it's cool to like get to know the artists in this day and age that are like, I mean, they can be as private as they want when it's just like they're just getting millions of streams and they don't even have like a record label behind them yet, but it's cool when you can like see a Q&A that like Pitchfork did or something. I don't know.
I think that helps too. Like, you know, I don't read a lot of interviews, but I do read the reviews, and sometimes like Pitchfork does this. Like their reviews will have excerpts from interviews that they might have done, and I think that kind of helps me get to know the artist and what they're trying to say with this album. Like it gives me perspective on a certain album, but after I've listened to it, or sometimes before, because I read some reviews of the new Tame Impala album, and before I listened to it, and it didn't necessarily sway. It just gives me again perspective.
Right.
And I watch a lot of Needle Drops videos, and his reviews are incredible. At least I think. And I don't always agree with his reviews, but I think he has a lot of perspective, a lot of things to say about it, and I like that. I like getting different points of view, especially on music. But A$AP Rocky's Testing album, I didn't like it, but I did like what he was trying to do. Like he had a lot of different. He thought outside the box. But I thought his album before that, I forgot the name of it. What was it? I forgot the name of it. But there was a lot of great ideas on that one that I think clicked. But I don't know. That's just me. It's my opinion.
I don't know. I just feel like there's some artists that I'll like anything they put out because I like them, and I think he's one of them. I don't know. And also just like I saw that tour, and it was just a cool experience.
I liked his first mixtape. What was it? Live Long ASAP.
Yeah, that
was really good. That was awesome. I love the screwed up Houston influence, and it was very, very good stuff. So do you think non-musicians, non-artists can criticize or analyze music, even though they've never played music before?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're experts in our own right because I think music is all like a lot of times about telling your story and like human connection. I mean, we're all different experts on different things and like emotions and that connection, and music isn't just about like notes and harmonies and melodies. I think it's an art form, and even if you're not an artist, you can talk about whether you like a painting or not, I feel like. And so I think I just feel the same way with music. It's how you connect to it, and whether you like it or not is like valid. It doesn't mean like it's not good, it's not a good piece of work. It's just like, it's just an opinion at the end of the day, and I think anybody can state their opinion on art, period.
And these artists, they make music for us to listen to.
Right.
So if you don't care what we think, maybe you're in the wrong field. You know what I mean? Because it's all about what people think, to a certain degree. You want people to come to your show, so you care about what they think. But I think that a lot of artists, they should care about what their fans think. Mostly, like if someone is reviewing an album, maybe they're not necessarily a fan of that artist, but their job is to just, okay, I have to review this. And if they give it a bad review, that's one review. But are people still coming to your shows? You know what I mean? So Nora, what do you think? You're pretty quiet on that.
No, yeah, I think there's in any art form, if you're like, I'm going to create this art and it is mine and I'm not open to critiques, then you're not making it for anyone but yourself. And so then like you can't really complain when you're not being written about, when people aren't becoming your fan, because like we want to connect with music because we want to connect with a person, but we're also like, you criticize or analyze something and then the artist grows. And then they, do different things, and like it's a relationship between everyone involved. And so it has to evolve. Like you have to evolve. You have to take criticism. Like you have to like learn to refine your craft. And even if we're not musicians, like Sophia said, we're experts in our own right. Like we study music, just not as people who play and make music, but as people who love and appreciate music. And like, I don't think it works if an artist doesn't want critique and doesn't want to be analyzed. And it doesn't work if someone who's doing the critiquing and analyzing isn't giving them a fair chance either. But I think the biggest thing is that music and the music industry is like we're a cohesive like habitat, right? We're an ecosystem. So like music and the music industry can't survive without critics. It can't survive without artists. It can't survive without producers. It can't survive without labels. You know what I mean? Like we all work together to create this. So I hope that artists don't feel like it's us against them, or anybody in any part of this that it's us against them, because we're all striving for the same thing.
Right.
And I think that artists, they're fans of other artworks and art forms too. They all go to movies. They all watch maybe cooking shows, and they might have something to say about a certain recipe, or they didn't like that new Bad Boys movie or something like that. I love the new Bad Boys movie as a side note, but I'm just saying, like you can't say that people can't criticize your music if they never made it, even though you consume different types of art, books, or whatever that you might like or might not like. You have something to say about anything ever. You know what I mean? You go to a hotel, oh, this hotel sucked, but that's not an art form. But the architecture, you can critique that. You know what I mean? Because we always have stuff to say as human beings. We're all gonna have court.
It's like, can you critique like a meal at a restaurant if you're not a chef? Like, yes, I can say I like that or I didn't like that.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
Yep. I had a bacon, egg, and cheese the other day. That was terrible.
Yeah.
I'm not a chef. I can't cook worth a damn. But I love food, so I can talk about what food I like. So I want to talk about generalizations, and there's a whole lot of that going on in music, especially in hip hop music, and we'll get to that. But I also been hearing, and we've all been hearing this, pretty much majority of our lifetimes. XY genres is dead. So can genres die?
I don't think so. I think they're evolving, and I think they're like building off of each other and they're blending. But I don't think they technically die. It's just like that was what rock was when it started, or that was what hip hop was at its birth. And now like this is also a hip hop song, even though it doesn't sound like an original, like the inventors of hip hop. I don't know. I think it's still hip hop, but it's hip hop maybe 2.0, 3.0. I don't know.
Yeah, like as we evolve as people and culture, that has to evolve too, But I think that also it's kind of like trends in any form. Like certain genres have their moment for a moment and then other ones do, So no, like nothing's dead. But it's also about like innovation, right? Because we want to hear something new. That's like who we are as a culture. And so like somebody could come out tomorrow and just be like an amazing jazz singer, and we could all be for them. We just want to hear like good music, and we want to like see talent. But I think people are so caught up in like what's getting you clout, like what's popping off on like pop culture, that they, instead of like artists today, a lot of artists are like pushing the boundaries and like blending genres and stuff. But I think that like the masses are scared of that kind of thing, like with Lil Nas X and that whole thing, and they didn't want to play him on country stations and like in country charts. Like there's a lot of like other parts of our culture that are problematic that like add up to that. And I think saying a genre is dead is ignorant. It's like you're not, because like music is culture, right? So you're not addressing something that like is still existing and still there. It's just not in your peripherals. You know what I mean? Like it's not dead. Like grunge music is not dead, but it's just not on the top 50 charts right now. So you know what I mean?
I think that trends go away, trends die, but the music doesn't go away. I don't know if you've seen what was it? It was Ice-T's documentary. I think it was The Art of Rap. Have you seen it?
I have not.
It's a must watch because it talks about trends. And Big Daddy Kane did an interview on it, and he said, if you want to be trendy, just know that when a trend's gone, you're gone. And trends go away fast. Hip hop music, we see it in rock and roll all the time, like grunge, for example. Grunge is not a real thing. you know, it was like Kurt Cobain is not going to say, man, Nirvana is the greatest grunge band ever. When you say that, gone. It's gone.
Right.
You know, it was an aesthetic cultivated by how, you know, or whoever wants to market this to people.
But it's not gone. It's just not in the pop culture. Like, there are still grunge bands. There are still people creating music
For sure.
with the influence of grunge. And there's still, like, the morphing of grunge into different aspects of different genres. But, like, there's still grunge bands. There's still people who
It's
are...
just like right now, I think the kids who are more the grungy kids are like, oh, Trippie Redd, like that's
right,
my rock
exactly.
and roll,
It's
basically.
I see.
But I also think there's grunge, like, there's 100% grunge bands, and like, but it's not just
Yeah.
that, like, ska. Like, I love ska music. Okay, let's bring this out to the open. Such a weird, obscure thing. And in the 90s, it was popping off. It was just this weird experience where everyone was like, yeah, we're down for this. But it's weird, right?
It's weird, and it's not dead. It's still
It's
around.
not dead. It's still around.
new
And
There's
bands
pieces
released,
of ska in a lot of
yeah,
music, yeah.
like Big D
Elements.
and the Kids Table is coming to town soon. Like, you
the
know what I
Men
mean?
Zingers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, so like the music exists, the culture still exists, but it's just kind of like a subculture. It's just
Yeah.
like a thing that you associate with. It's not, you know, trending, charting, whatever, but it's still profitable and it's still out there.
I think the trend or the aesthetic of it goes away, but the music doesn't go away. Like with the stereotypical flannel, long hair, white boys from Seattle has probably gone away. But the music of what Soundgarden was doing, what Nirvana was doing, or Alice in Chains, like a lot of that stuff is still in a lot of bands today. But yeah, again, just trends and aesthetics gone, but the music.
But I think
it's there.
if you rolled up to Portland or Seattle right now, your point
You-
would be
yeah.
mute. Or like even like Minneapolis, like even like I just think I also think the bigger idea of what is trending, what is cool, what is like popular is much more diverse now. Like, because like we can all like look at like the top charts and see like this is what's trending and cool, but then like outside of it, these own communities that were built from this, like they still exist and they still like thrive, and they're still actually like relevant, but just relevant in different ways in different points and times.
Yeah,
If that makes sense.
Of course, like there's a lot, like snapping music was big in like the mid 2000s, but a lot of that, like people aren't exactly leaning with it and rocking with it right now.
I wish we were.
Yeah. But a lot of that music is evolved into what the Atlanta scene is now. You know, you hear it. You have to hear it. You know, Nuck If You Buck, like a lot of
You know how
what
I
mean?
feel.
Like,
I love Nuck If You
a
Buck.
lot of crime mob stuff is still,
Yeah, they'll literally sample like the old
Yes.
stuff.
yeah.
We were talking about that recently. Like the sampling is, I love it. I like sampling, but sometimes it does get like, well, did you just sample the song and you didn't really do anything different with it?
It's not a sample at that point. It's a
Yeah,
cover.
exactly.
You know, and nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But we need to. I think sampling is great. I was reading a book about it, and there's a great documentary on it too. But when you take a little piece of something and then turn it into something completely original, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But if you just take the song and then just redo that and just take another artist and just do that, that's, I don't know.
When Tyga did that Macarena song, I was like, why?
Oh my god!
Why? But then I like put it on and I'm like bobbing my head, and then I'm asking why at the same time. And I'm like,
Because
genius!
Tyga
Like
gets
everybody
the
knows
best,
the Macarena.
He gets the best beats. Like whoever,
Dude, like Rack City slaps.
right? Like he, like if you took him out alone, not trying to be shady, but like it's not like he's got the best lyrics ever. You know, he's not like twisting how you think about things, but he can make bangers. Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know.
You got the capital to pay for the producers. You know, like guys like Murda, Metro Boomin, Tay Keith, they're making these guys millionaires of what these boys are doing. You know what I mean? And they're cultivating a sound. And wow, we went way off topic. But I guess the trend of the trap, for example, like that sound is just an evolution of what came before, of the lean with it, rock with it, and all that stuff, and what Lil Jon was doing with the East Side Boys and all that stuff, and with the Jerk Boys, like all the jerking sound that was popular in the early 2010s, that's just Bay Area stuff. That's all it is.
Yes.
I hear that in YG's music a lot, a little bit in Vince Staples' music. It's there, but just, the skinny jeans and doing the silly dances, that goes away. Like a lot of Soulja Boy's music, it's just a lot of dances. But that sound is still kind of, prevalent today. You know what I mean? Like Juice WRLD's and Trippie Redd stuff. They listen to a lot of these, emo
Ian
bands.
Dior.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They listen to a lot of these artists, and you hear it. That's why Yellow Card is suing Juice WRLD still.
Yeah, they're like, trap is people are catching on to trap, and then it's like, okay, now there's dancey trap, there's emo trap, there's like, it's just, I think it's always evolving, and like we said, it's just what's trending, and it doesn't mean that other genres disappear. There's new waves, and there's also people still making like true rock and roll, like.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like a Ty Segall, for example. This motherfucker, he is insane. Like when you listen to him, you think, oh, the Beatles. Who else? All the stuff that Richard Goderer was writing in the 50s, like a lot of that pop stuff. And then he just takes a bunch of noise and puts it together. It's just like, oh my God, it's evolution, you know?
Love it.
Yeah, but I don't think any form of music can die. It just evolves. Like hip hop is what? Just blues, rock and roll, soul. Psh. Guys were just rapping over James Brown, loops over and over again. That's really all it is. Rock and roll is jazz and the blues together. That's it. What's country? It's just folk and blues, gospel.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Different singing styles. Yeah.
Yeah, stereotypes come with it. Again, with country music now, there's just the pickup trucks, and it's just an aesthetic. That's probably going to go away. But the music is going to just evolve. Lil Nas X, perfect example. That's it. That's all it is. So, again, I guess we all can agree no genre can really die.
No.
But
Genres
just
don't
hip-hop
die.
is just it right now.
And music's eternal, especially now. Like, you can go on Spotify and listen to anything. Like, from the first recorded music, you know what I mean? And like, that's amazing. That's so cool that we get to live in that future.
Yeah, and I think that, radio's kind of behind the music evolution. You know what I mean? Like, music is going to fuck people up in many different ways, but then radio's going to be over here doing what they do, waiting for that stuff to get popping, and then go with it.
Right.
Yeah. You're finding your new music from TikTok before you even open a music app.
Dude.
Like,
Word.
or
Dude.
let alone the radio, which, I mean, I support local radio and all that, but I just think that's just
Radio
what
K,
happens.
what up?
The internet is just like superior. That's it. That's what it is. If something goes viral, that's the next trend. Period. Like, I don't know.
That's it. That's all it is. So let's dive into hip hop generalizations, and man, this topic makes my blood boil. I'm gonna read some quotes. Some of this may be disturbing to some hip hop fans. It's not that bad, but it's bad. So this is from Miley Cyrus. Quote, "I can't listen to that anymore," referring to hip hop music. "That's what pushed me out of the hip hop scene a little. It was too much Lamborghini, got my Rolex, got a girl on my cock." End quotes. Mr. Post Malone, everyone's favorite guy. If you're looking for lyrics, if you're looking to cry, if you're looking to think about life, don't listen to hip hop. And the young Billie Eilish, 18 years old. There are tons of songs where people are just lying. That's a lot of rap right now. From people that I know in rap. Now, do you think there are any truth to these hasty generalizations? Go.
No.
No, and they're white people who benefited off of something they didn't start, and I don't know.
You don't get to pick and choose the parts of the culture that apply to you to benefit off of. Like, hip hop is so criticized, and so because of like systematic racism, like, you know what I mean? Like, this is just how it's always been. But like, it's really disheartening to hear white artists not acknowledge their privilege and what they gained from using a culture that wasn't theirs, you know? But it's also like not the place of people of color and people in hip hop to educate those people. You know, that's like a burden as well. So I just wish people would educate themselves. And if you want to use hip hop to your benefit, if you want to be part of the culture, then do the work, do the research, like hear people's experiences and lift up people who are fundamental to it, and don't just like take it over and then criticize.
I think, yeah, there's a lot of truth to that. Education is very, very important, because if you listen to, for example, 50 Cent's debut album, Get Rich or Die Trying, you listen to In the Club, and you hear, yes, a party atmosphere, but there's also a violent foundation in it. But if you look up or do a little research or learn where did 50 Cent come from, South Jamaica, Queens, and the height of the crack epidemic, there's going to be some violence in his music, you know? And this idea that like rappers, they're lying, they're not really, they don't really have all this stuff. I'm like, first of all, how do you know that? Second of all, why does it have to be true? Why does the truth matter to you so much? Like, why do you care? Even as a, like you said, as a white people criticizing a black art form that was formulated in the South Bronx during, like, when there was gangs, when there was I think before crack, but it's children of the ghetto just talking about their experiences. How are you to say that, oh, you know, it's just this and that? And when Post Malone said there's no emotion, like there's no emotion in hip hop, like why? How is it? Oh, sorry.
No, like that is very like it's a generalization, but it's just ignorant, because it's also just very untrue. I don't really understand what he meant by that.
I don't understand why, and I remember when all those quotes came out from them, I don't understand why those specific people said it when they know they've used elements of, you know, R&B or hip hop or what have you, and like I just don't understand. Do they just, and that's when I think people say, oh, the press is negative. It's like, no, you said something negative, so the press is talking about that now instead of the music you put out. I think that's when people say, like, especially the bigger stars, like, oh, I hate the press or whatever, or like, I think it's coming from, well, you said something and now everybody's talking about it, but like, why did you say it in the first place?
The person that's interviewing them, like the press that's talking about these people, they don't understand hip hop. Generally speaking, they don't. They don't. Especially a lot of these mainstream acts or outlets, they don't get it. So when you're talking about it, like your response is gonna like be like the foundation of what they understand about hip hop music. You know what I mean? So if you're coming from a place where, oh, I'm talking about my truth and this is how I grew up, that's how they're gonna learn about it. If you're spewing the nonsense, then they're gonna think, and white America is your fan base is gonna think like that, and that's why, you know, then problems come about. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think that it's white people's responsibility, if they want to be part of hip hop, if they want to even be a fan of hip hop, to like do the actual work to learn about everything that we were talking about, and like you don't just get the joy and the entertainment out of it without understanding the background in the story, because then you're not, to me, you're not being a fan, you know. So but I do want to say that these people who said these things, because we're all human and we say things, and
just like their stream of consciousness sometimes those quotes are taken way out of context.
Yeah.
Just to give them the benefit of the doubt, which I don't know the full interviews or the full things, or if they're just one-off tweets. But sometimes there is, like, they're going off on a tangent, and there's a lot of context that went into why they said that, or they corrected themselves later in the conversation even. Like, in the very conversation. I don't know.
And let's allow them to take responsibility for what they've done and what they've said and grow. Because, like, we were talking about cancel culture and like how toxic it is, and I'm actually not fully like anti-cancel culture, because like I do think some people need to be canceled, but I do think to like just accept that we're all human and allow people to grow, but like also take people for their word. So like what somebody's telling you is what they mean, like actions, like what they do that's who they are. So if somebody says this, but then they change and they apologize and then they do take the effort to like correct what they didn't know, right? Then we can be like, great, now like let's help educate more people, right? But if you just do it and then they get criticism and then they get upset that they're being criticized, then they're not seeing the greater issue. And then like, why waste our time with that, you know?
Yes, and to your point, yes, I don't want to cancel these individuals. I just, I was very angry before, but because I've seen this happen so many times, and I think that again, we need to teach people about these things, and you need to do your Googles too. If you're gonna work with Mike Will Made It, you kind of have to learn about who he is and his music and the culture that he represents. You just do. Before you start wearing dreadlocks and before you call up Metro Boomin for a beat, you need to understand what's going on here.
I like to just talk to Miley's team one day.
Yeah.
Just like, what was your thinking
in
like, every phase? Because she before the whole Bangers era, she like did a cover of Jolene on YouTube, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is gonna be her next step, like really folksy. Like she has an amazing voice. Then all of a sudden, she's like, I am
Juicy
hip-hop.
J.
Yeah.
I love that cover of Jolene though. I
Yes.
still watch that video all the time and think about
Her
it.
little top bun.
And then the song when she did the Ariana Grande like backyard acoustic,
Yes.
that was also really good because they both are like super talented. They have great voices. Decisions were made that we don't understand.
or we don't know how much the artist like decided. But like for people who Post Malone or Billie Eilish who like were like raised by the internet, went viral, got famous young. There's all these factors on their part, but of course you shouldn't also on the same rate you shouldn't be ignorant even if you're 18 and you got famous when you were from a song you made when you were 13. I think that you can like look up, I don't know, whatever, and understand that you're influenced by things that you're like critiquing, but I also think that they are still so young at the same rate. I don't know. And I really like Billie Eilish. That's all I can say.
No, me too.
Yeah.
I think her music, I think she's the now and the future. But I think, again, education. We need to teach her. And you need to do your Googles.
We're day one. Like, I remember when Sophia showed me Billie, but this was like 3 or 4 years ago.
Well, like I knew about Ocean Eyes, and then the Ocean Eyes remixes.
Yes.
There's a Black Bear remix.
The Black Bear remix
and then
is the best.
She finally put out a project, and like me and Nora would listen to it and be like, when we worked at a radio station together, we would tell everybody, listen to Billie Eilish. Listen to Billie Eilish. She's the next big thing. Like nobody listened. Mm-hmm. She finally went on tour. It sold out in a second, and I made someone from the radio station get me on that list. And it was like a 100-person venue, and it was everybody in that room knew the words to every song, and it was the next year a much bigger venue, and like grand opening and singing at award shows and like
selling out Madison Square Garden,
and nobody wanted to listen.
Yeah, and like that's the thing about being like the type of like fan or like enthusiast that we are is like what I'm looking for, what I'm getting from artists is like the art. I love the music. Really doesn't matter that she was some girl from California who was like 15. Like that was just an afterthought. We were just like, this is great music. And the same thing for me was like when Despacito came out. Like I knew that song way before it hit radio, way before, like even before Justin Bieber was on the remix. Like, and I showed someone at the station we're at, I'm like, listen to this. This is a bop. Like, trust me. And he was like, oh, that's really good. And like a week later, what's the number one trending song? You know, but it's not like I'm so much better because like I find music before everyone. But it's like when I'm like music to me, the experience isn't always about who it is and what they're saying and what they represent as a person. Yeah. But the art and the invoking feeling, emotion.
Same with Post Malone. I like when he had 5 songs on SoundCloud. He also had a show randomly in Minneapolis, and it was like $3, sponsored by Red Bull. Like they were literally like giving such a free show and like cool experience because it was a newer artist, and he like performed White Iverson like 3 times, but it. I don't know.
And when he was like on the side stage at Soundset, which is a festival we used to go to, like
White Iverson.
Yeah.
White Iverson.
Exactly. I always was like, wondered why. That
White
like, but it's
Iverson.
great song.
Same dude who said the quote you just read a little bit ago.
White Iverson.
You know,
Oh, thank you.
there's just room for growth for Post.
Yeah, he's only, what, 24? 25?
I mean,
He
should
he's
be
good
better,
at
but
making,
like
Well, I
he's gonna be
suppose he's
better.
already- yeah.
Hopefully,
he's good at making, like, pop tunes. Not like genre, putting him in a genre box.
Right.
But he's good at that. But, like, the problem is when you're using all this rap-influenced stuff and
Right.
but anyway.
you're co-oping and then benefiting.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but like, this is the part where I'm like not anti-cancel culture, and I don't mean it in like
I'm not- yeah, I
to
don't wanna
cancel
cancel 'em.
people,
Yeah.
but I do
Yeah.
think the pressure
Cancel
we can
actions.
put pressure. Yeah, we can as fans and with social media and where we are today, we can put pressure on our artists to say we expect more from you. So meet our expectation or you're gone, right? And I like that because, like, isn't that how we live in the world with our careers? Like, if I was like messing up and like doing things that were inappropriate and not listening to what I'm supposed to be doing or like what people want from me, then I wouldn't have a job, right? So like if this is your job, be the artist, be creative, but if we're telling you this is not okay, this is not appropriate, then it's their job to either listen and take note or not and then see where you land.
Yeah, and you know what? Like about the, going back to lying in rap, a lot of people say that. Even people within hip hop say these things. Like Jay-Z said it with the interview with David Letterman, but Jay-Z he's a titan in hip hop. He's seen it all. Like he experienced something and he put his experience on record. Then he saw a lot of people probably copying that and capitalizing off of that to get some sort of quote unquote street cred. But, again, for someone that's outside of that world and you see some of these people and you think, oh, these people aren't telling the truth. Because you know what I mean? Like, first of all, why does rap always have to have that standard to it? I was going back listening to the early Lox records and I hear Jadakiss say, every check I deposit is just a new burner in the closet. Is he really doing that? No, but where are the Lox from? They're from Yonkers, you know what I mean? Like they're from, they've seen all this stuff. They're just talking about that. They're talking about their experiences and the culture they grew up in. They're putting, what hip hop comes from. Look, are all artists from the ghetto? No. You know what I mean? Even I hate that word ghetto, but that's another conversation. No, but like, if I'm listening to Aesop Rock, he's from East Northport on Long Island. If I hear him talk about, bricks and keys, it's like, bro, dude, it's just no. But if you're telling a story about someone you knew that was on heroin or selling heroin, and you're speaking from a first person perspective, that's totally different. You're telling a story. But again, when some artists, when they fabricate certain things, and even if they come from a certain area, that's not. Why do they have to be 100? Why does it have to be 100% factual? You know what I mean?
Can I
don't
make
know.
a comparison?
Go ahead.
Okay. The Work From Home music video. It's a song. This Work From Home, right? You know the
No.
song? You could work from home.
Yes.
It's Fifth
No.
Harmony. Okay. The music video, the man in the music video is a construction worker. Construction workers cannot work from home, right? Therefore, should we say that Fifth Harmony should be canceled because they're lying? Because if you're a construction worker, you cannot work from home. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, of course.
And then,
Of
okay,
course.
Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again. Do we think Britney Spears, Oops, I Did It Again, and was like, here's the song? Like, no, it's a song.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like talking about that kind of stuff. And like I just don't care. You know what I mean? Like, if I like it, I like it. If you don't own 25 Benz, like, I don't care, but it's kind of fun to think, like,
At some rate, a lot of music is just imagination. But,
Yeah.
I mean,
It's like the Mighty Ducks.
I feel like you can smell a lie, or like if someone's like, this is not genuine.
Yeah.
That's
And
it.
I don't know.
That's it. It's not that it's true, but does it come from an honest place? You know what I mean? Like,
But why do you care if it's honest? Or, you know what I mean? Like, like you said, it's like a story, but it's like, what's the word? It's like a moment, like a movie, right? They're painting a picture. Why do you care if the picture is the life they're living, if if you like the song. Or,
I
like, the
think
lyrics.
within hip hop culture there is this, authenticity, right? Because again, like hip hop music formed because of a lot of these black and brown people had no resources, so they created
Right.
their own. And in the beginnings of it, even now, these guys and girls are talking about their experiences. And again, and then there's another element of hip hop, the battle rap scene, right? And these people are talking about, their own struggles and where they come from. And, they're trying to outdo you. But then this other guy might say, hey, that's bullshit. You're bullshit. You're full of shit. You know what I mean? I think that element is still in hip hop today, even though a lot of stuff that's said on record is not exactly 100% true. Does it need to be 100% true? No. But again, when you're listening to certain rappers and certain artists and you know where their environment, where they come from, and you hear them talk about a certain thing, you're like, okay, like Young Thug, 21 Savage, Migos, they come from this kind of environment. That's where they're talking about bricks and all that stuff. Are they really, like Pablo Escobar?
Right.
Are they? No, of course not. But you get it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Even if it's not 100% true, but you get it.
But I just don't get why people would be like so up in arms and be like, no, Quavo himself is not like this, and this that he says in the song. When, like you're saying, like it's also like culturally what was being talked about, what's being said.
Can we just pause?
Yeah.
What are the Migos up to? Like, I feel like I haven't heard about them.
No,
They dropped a
just
new
song
single
today,
yesterday, yeah.
Oh. Okay.
Was it Give No Fuck, Give a Fuck?
Right, remember
I
we
was
talked
sorry, I
about
was
it?
traveling.
Okay, me and Peter are like, wait, we talked about this.
But like,
was
are
gonna- I
people,
was gonna-
no, so now that there's a new song, are people talking about the Migos? Because I feel like there was like, it was Migos was everything for a while. And
We're
then
waiting for some stuff.
Well,
it was
then-
everybody went
yes.
solo, and then, yeah.
Yeah, and
Okay,
they all
so-
had their own, well, not necessarily Quavo and Takeoff, but
Oh,
Offset.
Takeoff
No, Takeoff had
has
his
like
own
the best
stuff.
solo
Yeah,
stuff.
no, I'm
Yeah.
saying like Offset, his stuff smashed.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Well, the Cardi B song too, and
Red Room.
Yeah, Red
Yeah.
Room was great. I love Red Room.
Red Room is so good, but I also like Takeoff's project. Like,
Me too.
It was terrible.
No, I like
No,
it.
I
I
like
didn't
it.
like it. There was maybe one song I liked.
Oh,
but
I'll tell you what song.
the song with Quavo.
Oh, was it just because Quavo's in it?
No, it was just a great tune. I didn't like it. It was very mundane. Like I think Takeoff is talented,
I like Takeoff.
but I do.
I mean, I like them all. I love that they did do their own things, and then they will hopefully do an album back together.
Yeah.
But that's what I like about groups is like, everybody's different. So like, I love the sound when they're together, but I also like to hear about them as individuals.
Yes.
But I'm like Sophia, where when I love an artist, I'm devoting some time and effort into learning them. I'm going to listen to all their music. I'm going to look up articles about them. I'm going to watch every interview I can find of them. Like, I want to be embedded with the entire, like, artist themselves and, like, the creation. But not everybody is that. Do you know what I mean? Some people
Yeah.
are just, like, just the music. I don't care who they are. I don't care where they're from. Right. Exactly. Some people are just like, that's different. It's just like, for me, I think I love being able to hear a song and like it, then learn about the artist and why it was created and how it was created, and then see the bigger picture and love it even more.
To that point, when I'm listening to Common, for example, him not saying explicitly where he's from, he's saying it, like he's talking about Chicago, but I learned about that just by listening to his music. I'm hearing the south side of Chicago when I'm listening to B or Like Water for Chocolate. I'm hearing it. When I listen to the first Wu-Tang album, I see and I'm hearing Staten Island. I'm hearing it. You know what I mean? And they're just making songs. I just get it. When I'm listening to, I guess, Madlib to a certain extent, I'm hearing the West Coast. I'm hearing it. I just hear it. I guess that's another thing I wanted to bring up. I've been thinking about this for years, and ever since I met Nora, I know you're the type of person that kind of likes this kind of thing. A lot of people, especially when it comes to hip hop music, the drama and the controversy is very, very sexy. And a lot of hip hop radio, a good chunk of not all, I'm not going to generalize, but there's a lot of conversation that has to do, even when artists that don't even make music regularly, their drama supersedes their music. So where do you two stand on that idea?
Oh, I live for the drama. But I love pop culture. Like, I love, like, all types of, like, pop culture, like, from music to, like, all types of celebrity. Like, me and Sophia even talked about some, like, just local beef last night for, like, hours. You know what I mean? Like, it's just fun.
I like people and hearing anything about their lives.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
I love other people's drama.
yeah.
Because, like, I don't want to have it, right? But...
not even like a negative or positive way, just like talking about what happened. What was that situation?
Like,
It's
why
just
was
so
G-Eazy
interesting
with
to me.
Megan Thee Stallion? You know, like,
Is this really a publicity stunt? Was there just a lot of drugs and alcohol involved? What are they covering up that fact? Or like, who runs G-Eazy's Instagram where it was like,
This is a great idea.
He literally posted a picture of just her as if there was like they were a couple now,
right?
After the whole story business.
But like people do that all the time. Like even like the thing with like Jaden Smith and like Tyler the Creator, and they're like, "That's my boyfriend."
That's my boyfriend, yeah.
Right, and it's like they're messing with us, but we love it. Like, let's go. You know, like I want it because it kind of feels like they're your friends. Do you know what I mean? Like you learn, you love these people, you like their music, you like their personality, you like their friends, you know, and like. That's a whole squad, and you like associate people together, and then you like feel like you're part of it, you know, even though we know we're not. But I just kind of like that. I
think I've always had a perspective that we're all just people, and like people are celebrities, but that doesn't mean that I like put them on a pedestal. And it's cooler when you see that they are just down to earth.
Yeah,
and that's why when there's drama, it's like that's so cool. Like I went through the same thing. Like it's cool to hear someone. Not even like drama, just but like like a personal struggle. Like
why?
Now I get why whatever you
like,
were off and not making music or whatever.
Why is Kodak Black, you know, like doing that stuff for Zendaya? Like why did he write that poem? You know what I mean? Like she has a boyfriend. Like this, but like, do you not have a guy who was creepy and like would DM you or like send you weird
been through
things?
That,
yeah, and you're like, poor Zendaya. Like, girl, I know what that's like. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. But
then you like look at Kodak Black, you're like, wow, why is he so sad that he's like what? Writing poems over Zendaya when it's like just go like find someone else. You know what I mean? Like it's just wild. And it's like their own like they're their own clique, like celebrities, you know? And they have to interact with each other because there's only so many famous people, you know? So it's almost like we're just it's like
talking about the popular kids.
Yeah, we're talking about the popular kids.
Good point. I never thought of it like that.
No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah. So do you think that celebrity drama or learning about celebrity drama and music fandom, do they connect or are they separate things entirely?
We created it connected. Like millennials and like the come up of like the internet, social media, now it is, but it wasn't always.
Because I think when I'm sending you music or whatever, and I'm telling you this is a great song because this is great harmony, and this album's coming out, and the sounds so great. There's a lot of music, there's a lot of instrumentation happening, and then your next text is like, "Are you seeing what's happening on Twitter with Nicki Minaj and Meek Mill?" And then I'm just like,
yes!
You know, with me, I know who I am. Like on the surface, I'm like, I can give two shits, but then when you read this,
it's so funny with that. Her last name is Petty now because like every time she tweets I'm like Mrs. Petty here.
Yes, because like if the shoe fits.
I think that's so basically, you know, I think that, you know, loving the celebrity drama, it can be connected to the love of music, but it also could be two separate things because you could not be fans of G-Eazy or Megan Thee Stallion and love the drama that's going on surrounding them.
But we created celebrities, so like
right
like,
I understand.
This is the bed that we all like made as human beings and as a culture, you know what I mean? So like I also kind of think, you know, if you're someone who's maybe not very social, right? Or if you're kind of introverted or whatever, you know, loving this stuff is entertainment, but it's also like, you know, a way to feel connected. And you know, again, like stuff like cancel culture, like there's problematic things about this. There's problematic things about how we've created celebrities, influencers, social media in general. But we've also connected each other in a way humans have never have before over this stuff. You know, people are friends from the internet who have met because they like one artist and they're tweeting about the same thing, about, you know what I mean, about the artist, and they meet somebody else who has a similar opinion, and now we're connecting in a way humans have never have before. And so, well, yes, it can be problematic. It's very corny. It's very, surface level, shallow. It's still kind of cool.
I think it boils down to, like, it makes it more personable, and even if it's, like, someone who's just, like, an influencer. Like, I found myself, because YouTube recommended it, listening to the mukbang drama. There's mukbang drama.
Mukbang is when people get a lot of food and they eat it on camera and, like, talk and, like, discuss, not even the food, but it's just, like, it's like eating, so it's, like, started in, like, Korea, and it's, like, a big trend, like, Asia loves this type of content, and then it came to the US and it's really popular. Anyway,
yeah, and I don't watch it. But then when there was mukbang drama, I was watching every drama video to connect the dots.
Right.
And then I was like,
same.
I had to know, like, what's the drama? I don't know why, and I can't explain it, but I just had to know.
Same. I love that. Yeah, I do it about everything. Any type of weird fandom. Like, right now, I am really in, and it's like kind of YouTube, but even more like the anime, like, I don't like that kind of stuff, right? But there's this guy named Onision who's from the internet, like a YouTuber, who's like, that's the world he's from. And he's like a predator and has been like grooming and manipulating young fans of his. And like, that's a common theme throughout anything, right? Like that could happen in any platform where you have clout, and access to fans, people who admire you who are young and naive. And so I think that topic is universal. Therefore, I can watch. So Chris Hansen's doing it. He did To Catch a Predator, right?
Yeah.
Right? So I like him too as a journalist. I like what he does. I think he has really good ethics and morals. So even though I have nothing to do with this world, this fandom, this section of the world in pop culture, I can still like feel the emotion and want to change it for the better, even though I'm not a part of it. Does that make sense?
Of course. I mean, I'm a big wrestling fan, and there's an arena for drama, for cultivated drama, and that's all it is. And I guess my issue with, mainstream hip-hop media's obsession with drama within, themselves is that I feel like sometimes, not all the time, the music conversation is lost. And then when we talk about all the drama between certain artists, then there's some people that say, oh, there's nobody rapping anymore. I'm like, so you've dug a hole in celebrity drama within the culture. You're losing sight of where the good music is. You know what I mean? It's like you have no concept of what good music is because you're obsessed with who's talking about who's having sex with who on Twitter or Instagram or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But I get what you two are saying about, we're talking about the cool kids. I think that's very interesting. I never looked at it that way, but I think we need to have a balance. You can have the WWE style stuff. You could also have, here's what's good. Here's the great music. Here's a great artist. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And like an example we can all relate to is like, let's bring it back to radio and like radio hosts. So like radio and like in the sense of music, it was, in the beginning about like they discovered music. These DJs were showing you new things and they were like
people were always slipping them like the disc or the single.
But what made radio DJs pop off and become like their own kind of quote influencers? Shock jocks, right? Howard Sterns of the world, Charlemagne. Drama, because they learned how to tap into something that engaged people, took it to a different level, that they could be part of a conversation even though they weren't part of the music. Like it. You know what I mean? Like the Breakfast Club would not exist if they didn't have shock jock value.
Of course.
Right?
I mean, Charlemagne openly says his love of Star and Buck Wild and Howard, and what I think, again, I think it started like someone like Charlemagne. I don't know. I let you borrow his book. He talks about all this stuff. And it started out as, yes, I'm trying to just shock. But then it's like, I'm just speaking the truth. Your music sucks, and did you do this with so and so? And the artist would get offended, and boom, we have
now you make controversy, and now you got views.
It's like
I got clicks.
Can you tell the truth? going back to from a journalistic standpoint, can you tell the truth about somebody? Can you say this is what? Can you give an open, honest opinion without offending anybody? Can you have an open conversation?
I think when you want to get the truth, you have to talk to the subject a lot of time, and it's okay to like when celebrities become not reachable. I guess there's a whole thing where you can critique a situation, but you're not really gonna get the truth if you're not talking to the source. I don't think.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Which I think that with this day and age, people just want to get the fastest story out there. So it's just pulling something from a TMZ quote, making a whole story, a byline out of that, making a catchy, like, clickbaity title. And that's what people think of as music journalism now. And there's real people talking to real artists and, like, or doing real, like, nice think pieces or critiques. And I think that's overshadowed by the clickbait, basically.
But
Going back to
are-
the dead genres thing.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people, a lot of publications, they write these stories because it's sexy and it gets people to look at it, and then they think that these types of music or whatever is gone or it's dead or whatever.
Yeah. People will just take what you say, you know, because they don't have to think for themselves then. But yeah, also it's a personal choice to be as invested or not as invested in something you love, right? And so like there's a lane for people like me and Sophia who can like love the drama, love the music, love the whatever, and like there's a place for you to love music in a different sense without the kind of personality and the persona of it, right? But there's also a place we can come together over it. So like
this, like
yeah,
now.
like I just I think like I personally like that's beautiful. Like that's again, this is why we are a ecosystem. We all are part of keeping it alive for what we love and what we don't like and how we express it. And I think it's so cool to live in the time where we can do that, you know, and where it wasn't just the people on the radio talking about music or the people writing about it and that was it, you know. We all get to have a say in it now.
And I also, to what you're saying about, like, some people say that where's, like, the real music, we're just talking about their personal lives. Well, to that extent, I think people should find forget the celebrities that already exist, find new artists. There's so many people making music, and it's, why are you, like, limiting yourself to what's popular and waiting for Rihanna? Like, just, if she wants to make music, she'll make music. Like, go find someone else who makes Rihanna-esque music. I don't know. There's so many people who, like, are talented. Why do you have, like, if they're critiquing, like, where's the real music and are sick of the gossip, it's because they actually, some part of them likes the gossip and they're tuning into that instead of tuning into new music.
Yeah.
And then
New
at the end of
artists.
the year, when you see all these best of lists come out, you're like shocked. What? Wait, this is your number one album? I never heard of it. Yeah, well, you're probably too busy focusing on who's beefing and who's fighting and who's fucking each other. You know what I mean? Again, I think they can coexist together. I think there's a place for it. Like, again, with Tekashi 6ix9ine was all drama. But, you know, there was something important to his story because, again, going back to hip-hop and people who were lying, this dude was welcomed by gang culture because they wanted to exploit him because he was making a lot of money. And then this is a guy who has nothing to do with gang culture, who's now feels like he's a part of this world, you know, and it ended up bad for him and the people that were surrounding him.
Yeah.
So again,
he's a really good example.
Oh yeah.
Because he's an
He's
example.
a bad example.
Yeah,
Don't
he's a
follow
bad
his
example.
example.
Right. He's a good example though of like if the quote of the people you were saying was directed at him, I would be like 1,000,000%. If they were like Tekashi 6ix9ine lies, Tekashi 6ix9ine exaggerates, he's making this up, he's creating his own beef, like, you know what I mean? I would be like, absolutely, I'd be in on that.
Yeah.
Because those people do exist. Like, that is not wrong, but it's a generalization, right?
Absolutely.
But he also perpetuates the things that people will generalize about and therefore write it off, you know? And I wish we could value authenticity and uniqueness more so than what's controversial, even though I love controversy. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So, switching gears almost entirely, listenership, music listenership. You know, a lot of people listen to music different ways. Me, I know I like listening to albums in their entirety, and to me that's the, you know, that's what music is. Not in its entirety, but to me, the art of a musician is their album. You know, because there you get a story. You know what I mean? You really understand the artist. You're getting to know the artist through this full length project. You know what I mean? So, do you two still consume albums? Do you listen to albums in their entirely?
Yes, but
Entirety.
more often than not, I find there's a lot of times I'm like, there's 4 songs I like on an album of 15 songs, and I'm just like, why didn't they just opt for the single route or a EP? And I feel like sometimes there's just, I'll listen to the whole thing and I'll give it a shot, but then there's just like 4 or 3 or 1 song that sticks out, and I'm like, this just doesn't make sense. Why was this put out? But then there's also albums that I have to listen to in order, and I love like knowing when the next song comes, loving the like little transitions, and I think that can be done well. But I think in this day and age, people are just putting out full projects because they're like, I recorded hundreds, so I had to do 15, like release 15 at least, like.
And they're like stacking their odds to get better singles because
Yeah,
they're just
that's
looking
true.
to see what pops out. But like personally, so if it's an album of an artist I like, right? I've already established I like that artist. Then I'm going to listen to the album, and I'm going to listen to it all the way through, and I'm going to do that at least 3 times. And then after that, I'm going to find the songs that resonated with me or that I liked and kind of like pick them out, and then I'll like put it in a playlist or something. And sometimes that's a whole album and sometimes it's not. And I don't judge a full album in like collective. If I like 4 songs and it's a 13 song whatever, like I'm still gonna like be like,
Say it's a good album.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
gonna
you
say
should
yeah,
listen.
because I like
Yeah.
really like those songs, right? And sometimes I can also acknowledge that some of the music that's on an album wasn't made for me, and that's okay too, you know, because if somebody else really
true.
liked it, good, right? Like that's awesome. I'm really glad that they got to connect with that. But then on the flip side, if it's an artist I don't know, like I'm way less likely to like go off and listen to a full album of someone. But what I like, and like this is why I like Spotify personally, because I like use my likes and like I kind of create playlists and stuff. So when I see myself really liking one artist that I didn't really know, then when I've acknowledged like, oh, I've liked a few songs of theirs and I've like been listening to them, now I'm going to go back and I'm going to listen to their full discography.
That's so true.
You know?
I just
I just did that with Rico Nasty,
I
right?
did that with Young Nudie. I was like,
Yeah.
I've seen him live, and I was like, okay, sure. And then I came across a song on like a random playlist that Spotify suggested, like, oh, like, or playing related tracks to what I listened to. And I was like, I forgot about Young Nudie. Then I went to listen to his whole, I'm like, he's got hits. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know if you remember it.
Lil Mosey, same thing. I love him. And I talk about this like every single day, but I'm like obsessed with Tokyo's Revenge. I don't know who he is. He's just like this little kid, but his stuff goes off. And like, you know, I noticed that his songs were in a bunch of these random playlists I was listening to, and I really liked them. So then I was like, well, now it's time to learn about him. Now it's time to like, so I can know when he puts out new stuff, I can be part of it because I like him.
I feel like the listening always like starts with, I go and I choose what I'm going to listen to on Spotify or SoundCloud or even starting from YouTube, whatever I'm listening to. Then recommendations or like the algorithm and the suggestions help you out in some way or another, whether it's like a reminder that, hey, you do like this artist too.
Or TikTok.
TikTok.
TikTok is like, it's like fast food for that, because once one person likes it and they do something cool with the song, then it's a million people are going to use it in 2 seconds, you know? And then your chances of hearing it are so much greater. And then, you know, you hear someone like Flo Milli on TikTok and you really like that song, and then you go listen to all her stuff and you learn about her, and now you're a fan. And I love that.
So, at least for me, when an artist puts out a single, and if it's just a single, great, I love the single. If it's a new single and that album coming out next month, I'm gonna go ahead and listen to that damn album, and it better be good. And you know, I'll go see them live. If your live show is good, it can probably reinforce how good the album is or bad the album is because of how you perform the songs. You might have heard it in a different way. You know, that's me. But 2 things to what you said, Nora. When you listening to an album, then you go back and you may pick out a few of the songs and put on a playlist. You know, I do that too. You know, I might go back and listen to the songs that stick out with me, that slap the hardest. But are you going back at any point in time to listen to that album in full again?
Not unless it was like
Depends on the artist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, oh, James Blake, I love that album. Or Ariana Grande's last album, I love that album.
True.
Like, things like that. But then those are also ones where, like, I feel like but the individual songs stand alone.
Mm-hmm.
But more often than not, I'm making playlists or just queuing songs that are at random because I just want to listen to different things. I just like variety, I think.
Yeah. If I get in like moods where I'm like, I only want to listen to this artist, then I'm absolutely going to go back and listen to the whole album. Or sometimes, because albums tell a story, right? That's kind of the point. So sometimes, even though I've been listening to the singles, maybe I've worn out the singles, but I still love the story. I still love the composition. So then I'm going to go back and listen to the album to get the feels, right? And when I'm by myself, I am way more... Like, when I'm alone, like, at home or something, I'm going to listen to albums. But, like, when I'm, like, at work or something, I'm just trying to, like I want to listen to stuff I already like. And because I'm trying to multitask. But I still, like, for me right now, whenever I'm just, like, sitting down to do something and I need, like, the background music, like, it's DaBaby. No matter what. Because I know I like it. I can go listen to all of his albums over and over and over again. And, like, but it's comfortable. Do you know what I mean?
It's mood and activity based.
And I don't have to think because I already have. I've established it. It's like Drake, right? Like, we can all go back and listen to Drake at any point in time. You don't really have to think that hard because we already did it, you know? But if I'm going to go find a new artist, I'm not going to do that when I'm trying to, like, do my full face of makeup because I'm focusing on my makeup. I'm not focusing on the music.
Yeah, that's definitely... That's definitely interesting. Yeah, but for me, if I'm at work doing something, I'm going to listen to something that I've never listened to before or an artist that I wanted to check out. I think that helps me focus when I'm listening to something strange. If I'm listening to something I already know about it, I'm not focusing on what I'm doing sometimes because I'm too focused on how good this song is. If I'm listening to something strange and unfamiliar, I'm going to focus on what I'm doing and try to understand what's happening around me. But again, different strokes.
For different folks, yeah. For real.
Absolutely.
But, like, that's the thing. Like, it's like a central topic. It's like, that's what makes us
Or just
different.
like
But
lo-fi
that's
radio, so you can just not think about anything.
Right. Like, well, back in the day, I used to just stream The Current when I was studying, right?
Yeah.
Because it was going to show me new stuff, but I also knew I liked it. I appreciated their taste and their talent. So, like, I was comfortable with it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. But that was, like, before podcast became what it was, like, this before even streaming was kind of where it's at now. So now it's a different game. But I just think that what makes us different is what makes us awesome and what makes things better. And so I think, like, as a community and as, like, music in general, what makes us different makes us whole.
I think that playlists are just kind of the new mixtapes.
They are. That's all it is.
Except they're made by humans, generally speaking. And there's a lot of human-made playlists.
Did you burn your friends' CDs, then you bumped them in the car?
Of course.
And you were like, you made it for the vibe?
Yeah.
But that's what a playlist is.
Same shit. It's just a different format. That's all. So what books are you two reading now?
I'm still on the Michelle Obama book. Please don't hate me. But because when I really like a book, I don't want to read it all in one sitting. I want to savor it. I want to take little bites of it so that it's not over. Because when it's over, I feel sad. But then, because you lent me the Charlemagne book, and so I'm going to read that. And then my coworker has the other one. So I was like...
Shook Ones.
So I was like,
I
maybe we'll...
I have to buy that.
Even though it's your book, I was like, maybe we'll trade. And then I'll let him read yours so I can read his. I'll get it back for you.
You have to read Black Privilege first, though.
No, I am. But that's the thing, because he was like, I don't have that one. I want to read it. And I was like, okay, so I'll read that. Then we'll switch, and then we'll switch back.
Yeah.
But, like, it's your property. But, like, I've just taken the privilege to do it.
It's okay. It's okay, Nora. I think you're the only one or few people that I'll let do that.
Well, I'm good for it.
Of course. Yeah. Sophia, what books are you reading?
You guys can talk about books.
Okay, what are you reading in general? Doesn't have to be a book or anything.
Journalists you like.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Any
it's
think
like
piece that came across your feed that you
nothing. I mean, I've read things and I can't like name a specific thing because I feel like I get not into my own work like that way, but like I legit just become a robot, and it's been like that. I feel like a lot since like going out from college and going from jobs to whatever, that I don't like read unless I'm trying to like get caught up on the news around me, or reading press releases about the communities I'm writing about, reading council packets, because like as a community journalist I'm covering city council and government meetings and trying to understand that lingo. And I don't know, that becomes like that's why I like music. That's like the thing I do when I just want entertainment, or like watching YouTube or whatever. But I've never been a reader, actually. Not even when I like feel like I had time. I have time too. I actually have more time now. But like, I'm a slow reader.
Same.
Feel like maybe audiobooks would be my route, but I'm just a distracted person. Like on my computer, I always have 45 tabs up, and which is like, I do read a lot of like music journalism type of things or stuff like that, but it's not like even a specific, like I go to this site. It's just, I always start from Twitter, I feel like, and then that's how I get into reading like current news and like entertainment news.
I'm a
and
sucker
there's no like rhyme or reason
for a Twitter thread.
Yeah.
Like I love that. Cause then it's just like, you can just keep going with it and read the comments. Like I love that. I like to ingest news that way.
I like the idea of books, and there's books I want to read.
Well, here's a pro tip just for everyone in the world. So public libraries now, if you have a library card, you can get audio and ebooks through the library for free. Because I know books, especially because like bookstores have gone away, things have changed. Like they've kind of been expensive to like own a real book, to like go get a book. It's like books are expensive, and then
It's worth it.
It is worth it, but then also like finding a place that sells books. So like if you have a library card, like you can get ebooks, you can get audiobooks on your phone that moment, you know. And so I think people should take advantage of that too.
Like the wise aardvark once said, having fun isn't hard when
if
you've
you got a library card. Are they for life?
But the books that I read are so incredibly niche, is that like I can go to a bookstore, generally speaking, but going to a public library, I mean, if I want to learn about
but check
history,
online on the database, because
that's true.
It's digital. Like this is online, so they can get so many deeper. Like it's not like the New York Public Library is sourcing and creating this. It's like a platform like Audible, but it's not Audible. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it exists. It does. But I just also think that like people who want to read but don't want to have to buy books and stuff, maybe like that's part of it. Like I'm someone who like, I do like books, but I'm probably gonna wait until either somebody else lends it to me. Like it's just something that I'm like if I'm pressed about money, that's just not something I'm gonna spend it on. But I really enjoyed figuring out that you can use a library for that. But I'm a reader, like, and I think that's too, like, it's okay to be either way, like, it doesn't matter. But, like, I grew up in a very, like, book-heavy household. So, like, reading became a type of,
I did not grow up on
escape. That. Right. So.
I was forced to read. My dad would say, you need to read. Like, and I would hate it.
In the summer, like, you had to read, like, an hour or two a day, no matter what.
Yeah. I did all my summer reading stuff, but.
No, my parents made us do that. Like, outside of school.
I was actually, my dad tried that, but like, I just didn't, because when I'm told to do something, I don't want to do it. But then when I graduated college and all that stuff, I bought books and started reading shit that I wanted to read on my own time.
Yeah.
I feel like when people are forced to do something, they're less likely to do it and do it well, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm. Well, like music, my taste in books changed too over my life, and I think that's so cool too, because it's just like a different realm. And I love reading like memoirs and stuff, like autobiographies, and I love
that's me.
reading about like right, I know, right? Like that's why like we have a really similar taste in that. Like I'm so excited to read Jessica Simpson's book because I think that she was this like early 2000s, late 90s era pop star, and she kind of got the short end of the stick at the end of the day of those people. But like she also had a lot of things happen that we didn't know about, or like we saw in the public, but we didn't know the deeper things. And like, I'm so excited to learn about that. I'm excited to learn about why she chose to be an entrepreneur. I'm so excited to, and she's coming from a genuine place. And she always like kind of like without us knowing, she was trying to like be a role model that she would want to be look up to and not what people were telling her to be. And so then people kind of counted her out. Does that make sense? But like we didn't know that. And like it's not like I was a huge Jessica Simpson fan, but now I'm like, wow, I can't wait to hear that story.
I think that there's something to that. There's something to like when I was reading Charlemagne's book, he's like he used to read a lot of stuff from people that was totally different from him, that think totally different from him and totally different background. And I'm kind of the same way. Like I'm reading this book now, Switched on Pop, and it's written by a musicologist and a musician who analyzed the last 20 years of pop songs and their influence in different ways from a music theory perspective and how they relate to people and how they connect with people from and all of like the symbolism that the music's notation can bring about, the lyrics, samples, everything. It is the geekiest music book I've ever read in my entire life. There's a lot of stuff in the book I don't understand. You can sit down and explain to me syncopation or chord progression. I will not understand it. You know, from just a music listener's perspective. But it's incredible. It's a must read if you're a big music fan. And yeah, it's people from different background from me, and I think that's great. It gives you perspective.
Yeah, and then just like a little bit side note, but on that topic, like you told me to watch vinyl, right? I loved that. Like I love stuff like that too. Like I think that's the kind of thing that I love about music is like you have the music, you listen to the music, now you can read about it. You can read about the progression of like genres or literal composition or, you know, whatever. And like I've read books like because I love grunge, right? Like I loved grunge. That was a big part of my like adolescence and like loving music. So I read about it and how the stages of rock and roll and like that I just nerd out on it, right? But like it brings me joy. But I love that you can go watch a TV show, you can watch documentaries, or you can watch fictional things. Like I love that because like music is the number one thing I'm passionate about. But I do like TV and stuff, so I love that I can kind of get all of those worlds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Speaking of TV, what shows are you guys watching?
There's a couple of freeform shows that I've been watching, and I feel like they're the same show, but just like different casts.
What shows?
One's Party of Five, and it's like 5 kids, and their parents they're like ages like 24 to infant, and their parents get deported.
I've heard about it. Yeah.
I heard about that.
So it's like the older brother has to take care of them and the family restaurant, and then there's another one.
Grownish?
I'm forgetting what it's called, but similar situation where the dad like is dying, and then the older brother has to take care of the two, like older 20-ish year old brother has to take care of like two of his sisters that are in high school, and he's just like they're like all their like messed up issues, and then also like trying to take care of one another, and they're just whatever led by their siblings, and I don't know. Those are 2 that I just like binge watched recently.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
What have I watched recently? Oh, I really like true crime. So I just watched the Aaron Hernandez doc.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's whole different podcast, my friend. Whew. Yeah, that was like mind blowing. But I love that stuff. And I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. I think I definitely listen to more podcasts than I watch TV. But I get in like, because true crime's dark, right? So then I'm like, I get scared. And then I have to palate cleanse, and then I'll just watch something like SpongeBob. But I like Disney Plus, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about that every day.
I was watching That's So Raven.
Yeah, That's
Yes.
So Raven. Yeah,
Yes.
that's our fave. So I love to like, I watch all of Lizzie McGuire, and then I watch the movie, right?
too.
So like, I'm gonna watch everything about Raven, and then like the
You gotta watch Raven's Home.
Can we talk about Metamorphosis? That shaped me.
Oh, the song? Absolutely.
the album.
The
The whole
album, yeah.
album.
That album
Dude,
was
that song was dope. I'm not
fundamental.
gonna lie. Yeah.
Yeah, that album was like really important to the development of my music taste for sure. And I saw Hillary Duff, and me and my sister made T-shirts, and they said, "Can't get enough of my Hillary Duff." And we were like grown.
Queens.
I had a big crush on Haley Duff.
Oh,
yeah.
and she
She
was
is
in That's So
beautiful.
Raven, dude.
Yeah,
You
I
didn't
know.
even know.
Eddie got it. And oh man.
Yeah. Wait, do you know who's coming to town soon?
Who's coming to town?
Allie and AJ.
Really?
They're
I
playing
saw-
Valerie.
I saw them like
I want to see them. If you want to go
Then
to
they're back together.
One of them was in Phil of the Future, right?
Yeah, it was
Allie?
AJ. No,
AJ?
Allie,
Allie.
the older one.
it was Allie or AJ.
Well, not right. I think it was Allie. I don't know, but I love them. This is the potential breakup song. Like, iconic.
But That's So Raven is a beautiful show.
It is.
It is probably the best.
I think it was so
Disney
ahead
show.
of its time.
It was.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was, and it was so underrated. And I feel like that. No, never mind. I was gonna say maybe that cast ended up the best, but no, they didn't at all. But like, it was also like more, like even though it was like about a sidekick and everything, it was like a little bit less obscure. Like sometimes the plots in Lizzie McGuire, it was like, what's going on and how would this happen in a middle school, you know? But then it's like Raven, it's like reminds me so much of like me in middle school, like being so dramatic about stupid things. And
Yeah, it's exactly like the thought process you went through, even if you didn't say it out loud.
very
even,
adolescent.
even if you didn't have visions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about boys and teenage life and
Friends,
kind of friendship
and like the difficulties of friendship,
Yeah.
the things they fought about. I was like, ugh, me and the girlies to a T.
yeah, and I love the theme song. Theme song is brilliant.
Girl,
It slaps
love
hard.
Raven.
Someone needs to sample that. Well, someone probably has. But
Spoiler alert: she was on The Masked Singer.
Raven?
Yeah,
Really?
the second season.
Oh, okay.
That's what okay. To put it in a whole circle, that's the show I've been watching that I would recommend to people because it's so wholesome. I love it so much, and it's like it's either like people like a lot of it.
I just
a lot
think of
sports
I just think of like
players.
furries when I think of The Masked Singer. And I'm just
Okay,
like,
but
that's
like
just
that's not the
something
point.
I want to be a part of.
The point is like these. Okay, so like there's a lot of like sports players, and they have talent that we didn't know, and they're trying to show us. Or
Can
it's
I
like
show us in another way?
singers
Not-
who are maybe like one-hit wonders, but they were really good, and so
Yeah.
then like you learn about them. No, Sophia, you have to accept that it's taking away like the image and the idea and the celebrity, so you can appreciate the music.
Yes, the voice already did that with the big
But
chair.
it's cute, okay? You don't the thingamajig, adorable. I'm really invested in The Masked Singer. It's my favorite show.
I will say this about That's So Raven. It did talk about a lot of, things going through, especially young black teenagers.
Yes.
Like racism and, not listening to like peer pressure.
Yeah.
Corey was going to steal from the store. And then
That's a great episode. I just
so
watched
great.
that.
Yeah. And then what, Raven dressed up as a cop.
Yeah,
That's great.
because she always sees her vision, and then she thinks she's gonna stop it from happening, but she really just like
saw a different part of like
she
the
makes
wrong
it
part.
happen. Yeah, by trying to stop it from happening, she's creating the things she saw. I love that. No, but when we were younger, there was so many shows. I felt like so much more than there ever had been to talk about like young people of color, and then all of a sudden it just stopped. And why?
And that's why I stopped watching Disney.
Well, yeah, and I mean we kind of aged out.
The Proud Family. Like
Yes!
if that was happening now, I'd be watching it.
Sister.
Oh my
Smart guy.
God.
Oh, that was
Cousin
Smart
Skeeter.
fucking guy. Oh my God. That show is so important.
Yes.
Oh man. You remember that
Gullah
episode?
Gullah Island to go way back. It was like a little kid show.
Yeah.
But it was like actually created by these people who studied this island.
I remember
And
that.
so it like enlightened people also about like a culture that people didn't know about. It was just really great.
Yeah. But Smart Guy.
Smart guy was great.
There was one episode where there was a pedophile
Great
in the
theme
neighborhood.
song.
Oh yeah.
He's a
yeah.
smart guy.
Do, 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 do. Oh man. It's
No,
such an
yeah,
iconic show.
what you're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah, it talked
yeah.
about topics that maybe weren't always touched.
Oh yeah, especially on like when I first saw that episode, it was like after the show was already off the air, and I was like, Disney Channel did a show like this. They did
Yeah.
an episode. Disney Channel.
They really
weird.
did
Yeah,
back
it's
in
weird
the
that
day.
it-
Shit.
Like and Lizzie McGuire when Miranda had like the eating disorder episode.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they would just do it in such a
Now-
more like subtle way. They would never like say it
Yeah.
like they did.
Like she's sick or whatever. Like
Right.
she got checked into a hospital, but like you wouldn't say why or
Right. They would just kind of
show
like
her weirdly at
allude.
lunch, like pushing the tray or something.
I mean, like
Yeah.
I loved Degrassi. That was my
Dude.
shit. And I loved
The later seasons were butt ass.
Oh no.
But
We're talking about like like not the OG Degrassi, but OG Next Generation.
Yeah.
I mean, like Jimmy for life. Like
Dude.
I have loved Jimmy from Type 1.
Yep.
Like I love that show, and I loved that it just talked about real things. And I remember here in America, they wouldn't show a plotline that was about abortion. And so you had to dig and go online to find this topic.
Just when JT, right? He got what's her name pregnant, right? And she wanted to get her abortion. Was that it?
It was Manny.
Manny. Was it Manny?
Manny's the one that got the abortion on the show. Yeah, and Craig is the one who.
Yeah, and he was on coke too.
And he was bipolar.
Oh yeah.
But like they wouldn't show that in America, and now I think it's cool that today they absolutely would. You know what I mean? That's a topic people talk about all the time. But back then, it was like not allowed to be shown to us.
There's like
they
there's
did
the bipolar brother in Empire.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Sometimes it's problematic how they portray it.
Yeah,
That's
because
something.
we don't understand. I mean, a lot of people don't really understand certain mental disorders.
Right,
and
it's just generalizing.
Yeah.
And then stigmatizing the people who do suffer from it.
Yeah.
But we also have to talk about mental health, you know? Like, we have to. And I think music is doing a really good job about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's, like, really trying. Because sometimes the best art comes from, like, the deepest, darkest places. And so, like, we have to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. There's a few other things I wanted to talk about. Can't think of off the top of my head. Oh, yeah. Local artist from Minnesota. Sophia, I know you're on point with this. And I just saw Sarok, who's from Minnesota, too. She opened for Rhapsody.
Oh, really?
That was great. Rhymesayers. She signed to Rhymesayers, yeah.
Yeah. I think my favorite right now is Nerdy, like, by far. And he's, like, I think he's just, like, hit the nail on the head with, like, the genre blending. Because it's, like, pop, but there's bits where he just, like, spits. There's singing bits. But then every song is just, like, it puts you in a good mood. It's upbeat, even though he's talking about different things, like his experience being black or his experience maybe, like, being a little bit chubby. And it's so authentic, but it's so catchy at the same time. And I think it's someone, his, like, whole, like, vibe and live show is something I haven't seen, and I just am rooting for him. That's a big one right now. For me,
I love genre blending. Like Binky, the guy I showed you about from New York. Like he's like sometimes there's a guitar solo and then he's just rapping his ass off. I love it. And there's a lot of melody in it, and I think that's great. And yeah, anybody else from over there?
There's a lot of kids doing cool things, and I think that the ones I catch on to the most are the ones that aren't like a specific. They're a rapper or they're this, but they're, like, more experimental. And I feel like I think experimental can define, like, the music scene in Minnesota, like, just if you wanted to put it in one word. And, like, Duacella, who I showed you, they're very, like, just, I think, offbeat, off the, like, path of what you're just used to hearing. And that's, I think I hear a lot of that type of sound, if you can even categorize it as a sound coming out of, like, Minneapolis, and just... I don't know. It's cool.
So, I know you wrote about this one venue in Minnesota. What is it? The Caboose? What's it called again?
Caboose is gone.
Oh, it's gone.
Right?
Is it?
I
don't think so. I wrote about it?
Yeah. Tech Nine did a show.
Oh, right.
Is that the name of the venue?
Young Gravy opened.
Yeah.
Minnesota loves Tech Nine.
Oh, yeah. Midwest. Yeah. I like Tech Nine, too. I think...
I like his old stuff.
Yeah, my favorite album of his was All Sixes and Sevens, 2011. That was he had Lil Wayne on it, T-Pain. It was a good album.
I'll admit, I never got into Tech Nine. I was just like...
Technina.
I was like,
Yeah.
they were like, can you cover this show? I was like, sure.
You're not a technician.
And I was like, this is the most interesting. Young Gravy, who is just like probably owes his career to TikTok, and is from what city in Minnesota?
I don't know where he's from.
Like, not even the Twin City area, and...
I'll tell you in a second.
Yeah.
Have you been to a lot of shows at the Caboose? You too?
I saw Father there, and I had to leave.
Why?
He was a mess. It was just like noise. It had to be like just noise, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I'll like, I don't know.
The Caboose.
Rochester.
He's from Rochester. Yeah, that's where the Mayo Clinic is. It's the middle of nowhere. So the Caboose, so a big thing that happens in Minnesota is called the Zombie Pub Crawl. And it happens in October, and everybody dresses up as zombies, but it's kind of became just like a music festival, more or less, because they always have like big acts. Like they had Ray Shummerd, they had, who did I see? Oh, I saw the Yin Yang Twins one.
What?
Yeah, Juicy J.
Wow.
I saw, Little Dicky, that was gross. And you know what I mean? Do you get, like, it's just like a music festival kind of now. And when it started, when it was smaller than what it is now, the Caboose was kind of where it was, like one of the stages. So like I had been there for that and like lots of like outdoor stuff. You know what I'm talking about in that lot?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I've been to a lot of outdoor stuff in there, but the only show I've been there for was Amine.
Oh, Mine, yeah.
Yeah,
I wonder
but-
what he's up to.
I love Amine so much, but like that was the second time I'd seen him, so that was like, I like already.
I was just thinking about us meeting him.
I know we were so awkward. I can't live it down. I think about it every day. It's so embarrassing.
Also, he was like walking into the office, and I opened the door for him, and he didn't want to follow me, like because I was like,
yeah.
oh, like obviously you're trying to find the radio station. He's
Like,
like,
I'm
you come
showing
through
you where
here,
to
and he was
go.
like, he looked at his team, and he looked at me, and he was like, they're like, go. Like he didn't want to follow me.
Ugh.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't,
Well,
I
maybe
don't-
he's just as
I don't blame
awkward as
him.
we are, and that's
Yeah.
why it was awkward.
Yeah.
Sophia and I were a team because if we wanted to like see like the little sessions and like meet and greets, we just wanted to go together so that we didn't have to like go up to them alone.
That's such a weird concept, like meeting an artist.
Yeah,
Like, I don't know,
but like we wanted to. See
we didn't want to miss the opportunity at the same time.
Yeah, because it was like there, so we would always go as a team, but also because like sometimes people didn't know who they were and they didn't care, and me and you were like, but
Yeah.
like, they were on Empire.
They.
Where are they? Where'd they go?
Oh my God, that's why I like Nora. I just love hearing these Midwest stories. It's just incredible. It's just so
Oh, I know.
much.
I just like have a lot of stories, but like my stories from New York are so much better. Like now it's like, you know, in Minnesota you saw like local people, whatever. Now it's like, well, I've seen Heidi Klum on the street. You know, now I've seen Jake Gyllenhaal, and I just saw Miley Cyrus the other day.
Oh, wow.
And you know what I mean? So like now I feel like I have better quality.
I don't see a whole lot of celebrities. I mean, I saw Dave East just hanging out.
Dude,
Oh my
right
gosh.
over by
Yeah.
the
I love
office
him.
are hella celebrities. Just open your eyes.
Yeah. I saw Jim Ross.
Paul Rudd is out there every
Paul
day. No, you're laughing. Everybody in the office there has met Paul Rudd.
I saw Jordan Klepper from The Daily Show at a Ty Segall show.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
See, I,
was like,
love that.
whoa, you're Jordan Klepper. And then when...
I saw Bill Murray.
Oh,
recently.
really? Oh.
Yeah. Like, you know,
I don't see anyone. I see snow.
I see snow. We'll actually go out and about today. Maybe we'll see someone. I'll point them out to you.
Cool.
I also think I, like, realizing, oh, that's that person more so than, like, other people
I
around
see
me.
snow.
But then I won't.
Oh, I
like,
saw Pink at a cemetery in New Orleans.
That's
that's
fucked up.
weird.
That's sad.
It's a tourist attraction, okay?
Oh, okay.
I didn't want to go, but then they were like, I literally was like, took a walk around away from the cemetery while some of my sisters checked it out. And I was like, I'm not going to a cemetery. And it's just like, because it's all mausoleums and it's interesting to see, I guess,
like
for
that
people.
stuff, yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like flooded with people. It's a tourist attraction. And I was just like, I'll walk around the neighborhood. Tell me when you guys are done. And they were like, Pink's here. And I was like,
Be there in a minute. Gotta go.
All
Yeah,
right,
for sure.
Nora, Sophia, thank you so much for coming on My Little Underground. Where can people follow you on social media? Nora, I know
Not
you're
me.
off social media. Which I love you for. I love that.
Yeah, you can follow me whenever I'm on this podcast.
Yeah.
mine is just my first and last name, SophiaKhori. And I tweet sometimes and Instagram sometimes.
Good. It's for the better. Please subscribe to My Little Underground anywhere you get podcasts. I'm Peter A. Follow me Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. It's Peter_A, and follow the show as well at MLU Pod. I'm out. I'm hungry.
Same.